Alright, so today I'll be doing a tutorial on how to color your scenes just like the way I do it. This is the original clip we have. As you can see, it's pretty bland with like a lot of empty space, like especially up here. And yeah, so you just want to get your clip ready, just put your shakes on it and stuff like your one framers. Yeah, let's get started with like the actual coloring. So what I use is like a random picture. So I've been using this electric guitar PNG for like the past few months, I'd say. This is like my main go-to overlay. So yeah, I basically just use like a random picture. So to get this like prepped up, I guess I add a edge detect onto the guitar to make it like a neon effect. And then since there's still colors on the guitar, I would want to add tritone or any color effect that like changes it to all white. So I just do that real quick, and then basically just pre-comp and then just add deep glow, and then set the blending mode to add, because I don't mess with this unmult option. I just think it has like a worse glow. So as you can see, this like has so much more glow than the unmult option. But if like some scenes like the color doesn't show up or like the brightness doesn't show up, maybe go for this option. But this scene, it works. And then to make it like actually color, there's this tint option over here. You just want to enable it, and then let's change the tint. So let's just go for like an orange. And then yeah, you could scale this up, maybe like 600 or something. And then if we it's still like pretty harsh, so we can add like blur to it to like soften it up and blend it in more. And you're basically done. You just want to overlay more and more of these like guitar things, like the overlays you just made with different colors. And I can show you what I did for this scene. So in the background behind all of these, I wanted the background to be like kind of like a greenish, so I just put like the overlay like behind all of these characters. So yeah, it's basically just the guitar just zoomed in and then with blur on with the colors. And then I added some blue over here, just like across this section. And then I added some like pinkish to this section because the character is pink. And then more orange to like balance it out because it's like pretty blue. There's like a lot of blue, so to balance it out, obviously orange, because orange is like complementary to blue and like opposite. And then just more pink. And then the final step to like the actual overlay part is this blue background. You can see this. It's just this stock video I found, and then I zoomed it in all the way. And then if you go here and you find the perfect frame, right? So there's like black on, it's like mostly black, but there's some outline on the outside. And then you find the perfect frame, go to time right here, and then freeze frame, and then you put tritone on it to change the color. But if the color is fine for you, then you can just leave it. But I want to change the colors because they do not have to be one color all the time. You can animate the color by clicking the stopwatch next to color, and then changing the color. So as you can see, it went to green, but you know, I'm not gonna use this for the scene. So yeah. Okay, so we're done with like all the overlays I use. So now let's go into some optical flares, because these really help bring out color too. If I just, yeah, you can see it's yellow. So I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory. I just use like the default presets. So you go preset browser, and then there's all like the free ones over here, and I just use those. I usually use the ones in motion graphics and natural flares. I usually want to play around with the settings, but again, you could animate the color, change the color, and add blur. If it's too much of like dust and noise, you can add blur to soften it up, even though you still want like these rings. And then you just overlay them, and yeah. So now we got these cool dust particles and like these rings. And then last but not least, we got color correction. Color correction really plays a big role in you know, when you're coloring a scene, because you know, right now this looks like dog shit, but once we add a color correction, it like tones down most of the colors to blend them all in. And I'll show you what color correction this one is. But you know, I vary color correction from edit to edit, so it all differs from scene to scene depending on which anime or movie or media you're using. So the one I am using is one of the free ones. So not free, because you know, all these you can get for free, but the free presets, so they're in color film stock if you have like this version of Magic Bullox, and they're all the way down here. And then the one I usually use is Polychrome 4300, and then you just want to mess around with the settings. So I go to film print right here, change it to Kodak 2395. But you know, both look good. I just prefer like the darkness of 2395. And I usually turn down the grain. I know people like grain, but it like breaks my computer, so I ain't gonna have that happen. And then 4-way color, this is pretty important too, because if it's like a scene is too blue, you could change the midtones or just like all these values to match the vibe of the whole edit. And then yeah, you're basically done with how to color a scene.